Greetings to readers, viewers, and listeners, and welcome to this last for this year episode of the Autistic Superblog's annual Lenten tradition known as Letters for Lent. I just want to explain that the reason why I'm doing it live is because I had things to do today, and I wanted to apologize for not doing it sooner. But I feel like this is a momentous occasion because as I'm speaking right now at 8:08 p.m. on Monday, April 22nd, my Jewish friends, my Jewish listeners and readers are now celebrating Passover, which is all, um, which is all about taking the good, see, uh, uh, acknowledging the bad that's going on in the world, but also realizing that God's with them through it all. That's kind of the same thing for all of us. It's always important for us to realize that God's always with us, even when everything seems when things go from bad to worse, and you don't know what's going to be coming next. I mean, you just feel that the cards that are dealt to you are just bad cards, and you try to play them to the best of your ability, and sometimes it doesn't really work out. And there are sometimes of frustration, sometimes of anger, sometimes of that you're not good enough. I mean, things of that nature, those always pop up. They always have and they always will. But the key importance to bring all this up is that God is always with us, even in our dark times. Even in times like today where you hear about wars in the Middle East and wars even at homes, even in families, and you hear about it, you read it, and the war within ourselves too. I mean, let's be honest. Um, but it's always important to know that even when we're feeling at our worst, even when we're feeling that things can't get any worse, God's there to always say that I've got your back. Um, let me give you let me give an example. One of my dearest friends, for whom this whole series this year has been based on, was the late Joe Defino Sr. Someone who was someone who was a great teacher, someone who was a great coach, someone who was a mentor in my life, someone that I admired as a Roman Catholic, and he could see he could see the worst out of his students, but he could also see the best in his students. You could feel like people were giving an attitude, people were giving people were bullying, but he looked past the bullying and looked to the people that were suffering, the people that didn't feel like they were good enough, and he made sure to make time not only for them, but also made time for all his students, for all the people he was coaching, for all the people that he was sharing his faith with. He was one of the best. I could say it without explication. He was one of the best. I mean, when you consider what he went through when it came to his life, he was a soldier who didn't believe in anything, who didn't believe that God existed. But it took one person, his wife, a wonderful friend of mine, Beverly, and God rest her soul, to make him realize that life is worth fighting for. That even with the bad stuff that goes on in our lives, that God's always with us. That God's always there for us. That God's always that God's always got our backs. And through that, he was able to have children, great grandchildren, grandchildren, all of which really do a lot for his legacy. That shows that hope, that faith, that love, that charity are always around. That love, faith, and charity never go out of style. And that even when the times are at their most difficult, even when times when at their most difficult, that God has always got their backs, just like God did for the Jewish people during their time of exile, during their 40 years of going through with Moses through their enslavement. Um, in Egypt, getting them out of slavery and going into a place with milk and honey. That's kind of the whole situation when it comes to what God could do for all of us. What God could do for all of us. He's done so through the saints. He's done it through other people. He may do it through people we may not even know. Maybe the beggar that maybe the beggar that's talking to us, or just someone that needs someone to talk to. Maybe it's just someone that you really feel, oh, what does this person mean to me? Sometimes the one thing that you could do can mean a lot in the long run. Um, sometimes what you do in the what sometimes what you do for one person, you do for God, and that could change your game in an entirely different way, and it could really make you feel better about your own life. I know from personal experience that Joe Sr., God rest his soul, made a difference in my life, and I know he made a difference in so many other people's lives. Um, and he really practiced what he preached. He taught. He did everything he could to make people feel like even though people might think that oh, why do people not like me? Why do people not respect me? Why don't people support me? To make sure that they realized that they were heard, that they were respected, that they were acknowledged by God in some small way. Because it's that small way that can really like bring people together even in times of great strife. I mean, look what happens when war happens or when tragedy happens, how a community bonds together. Another part to this is that one of my dearest friends, Joe Defino Jr., um, who I consider a wonderful friend of mine, um, one of my spiritual mentors, really. Even when I know that my feeling that I'm feeling really down on myself, I know that even though Joe's going through some things on his own too, I know that he's got my back. Just like I knew Joe Senior had my back. And sorry, it's getting a little emotional again just talking about it. But I just wanted to just explain that one small thing that you do for one person, one small thing could change the entire person's game, even when things seem to not go right. Never give up. Never give up hope, because you never know when the next turn of the card could go your way and could lead to one or two or more things that are going right for you. I feel like we have a tendency to think of the things that are wrong with us rather than things that are right with us. I mean, I'm guilty of the same thing myself, but I also feel like we should always be mindful of our shortcomings, but we should never forget that God is with us through it all. So that's going to be the video for Passover. I just want to wish all my Jewish friends, my Jewish brothers, my Jewish readers and listeners a happy Passover. I hope it's a wonderful one for you. If you like these videos, please check me out here on the Autistic Superblog.wordpress.com. You can check me out here on the Autistic Super channel on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like the video. Um, let me know what you think about it, and I can only say I can only start it like I ended it on this all these other videos. Stay safe, stay strong. God bless all of you, and as always, shine on.